Hopeful was nice enough to let his Frost gameplay be critiqued, and I think that this is going to be just a good experience for people coming off 10.5. Probably a bit of a bad habit that just like 10.0, now that I'm doing this in 10.5, it's also on a rank 1 mage once again, but I think there's still a lot of good lessons to be learned here, because Hopeful is mainly a fire mage player. And these are the talents that he was running. Pretty similar to the general talent build you run, which is kind of like this. This is great for tyrannical weeks, especially because Ray of Frost is almost 3% better than Chain Reaction and single target. And given how often Chain Reaction falls off in Mythic Plus, I might be leaning towards this myself a lot more on tyrannical weeks, but regardless, this is a great low target count dungeon build, which is what Neltharian's Lair is. This is only going to be a partial run, but I think it still illustrates a lot of good problems, so let's get started. Obviously, as we're going in here, we want to see the standard pre-blizzard orb, icy veins, comet storm, kind of cold, then re-orb, comet storm, blizzard, right? Standard. And that is what we see here. Exactly, which is wonderful. Into the shifting power, great. So here, he just glacial spikes and he freezes, but he actually would have wanted to flurry after that because he's hitting an unfreezable target. So the freeze is great because it froze a secondary target because all these are freezable, but the main guy is unfreezable. So when you do a freeze with your water alley, it frees you up to actually flurry the main target as well, which is great when you're, hitting unfreezable enemies. So here, he actually didn't shatter this. He Icelands after. You would have wanted to flurry. That's okay. Okay, alright, he's Ray Frosting here. This is a bit of an unfortunate Ray Frost because it's not going to be into Winter's Chill as soon as his Glacial Spike hits. We also technically don't use Ray Frost on 3 target because that's AoE, so we would have preferred to save that till, we'd gotten down to at least 2 targets. But he ends up just holding his Orb and Blizzard for the next pack, which is fine considering these things are about to, teleport. And they're just going to die here. With a freeze, going to hit both them with the freeze. Pretty sick. Very strong. And then we're going to have a very similar opener on this pack that we had on the last one with a Blizzard into Orb. Here he does actually forget to Comet Storm before his Cone of Cold, which is kind of unfortunate. See here, he just is about to Cone of Cold, no Comet Storm. Yep. So instead of my Comet Storm there, unlucky. You really want to Comet Storm off CD here, because otherwise you just delay it so long that you're going to have to hold your Cone of Cold for it. You should be able to shatter everything here. Yep, so good. Now here's a bit of a crucial point. You can see he has Cone of Cold up, but Comet Storm's 10 seconds away. You generally hold Cone of Cold in AoE for your Comet Storm coming up. This would have been a great situation to Cone of Cold regardless, because these mobs are all about to die, and you will have 45 seconds till the boss happens, and you're not going to use Cone of Cold like off pull on the boss. But he does hold it. Should have been unfortunate, so he's going to miss a Comet Storm usage, and he's going to miss a Cone of Cold usage as well. If you're wondering, it was at 4:57:21, and you'll see when the boss gets full. Okay, here we are with the boss active. It's been exactly 40 seconds, and now it's been 45 seconds, so it's Cone of Cold would have been up, but he has a good opener. I did forget to mention, he does have spoils macroed into his Icy Veins. We do not want that. He actually got crit both times he used spoil this dungeon. That's the only stat we don't want to get from this. Normally we aim for Mastery, Verse, or Haste if Lust is not active. So yeah, sadly not a Fire Mage. We can't just activate Spoils on CP. Did a good opener here. I already know he was kind of unaware of the fact that you shifting power in Icy Veins. So he's going to avoid shifting power in here, which has been unfortunate. Now you can see this is the major area that he needs to work on for this boss in particular. We are now at 3 targets. It would be really, really good to Kona Cold here, but he ends up holding it. Of course, it can get a little finicky, to Kona Cold here with how the mobs are positioned, but you really want to be looking out to make sure they are. Additionally, he just Glacial Spiked, right? You see Glacial Spike, and he Glacial Spikes when Where's Chill. Great, great. However, he's in Icy Veins, and he has Freeze Up, and these are freezable mobs. So you want to just freeze whichever one you're going to cleave, and then you can guarantee you're going to shatter on both of them. No different from actual AoE, so... Yeah, he still has freeze up, so it's the same feedback, but it's okay. He's just isolancing here because of the shatter, which is fine. I would Glacial Spike because it's 2 target, but you want to use it natural anyway. Technically, in this case, you would have held your Frozen Orb till you use Ray of Frost, because in single target, that's how you do it, but this is a bit murky given its cleave. We do also technically use Blizzard on 2 targets, but since these quickly die, it's not too much of a bother. Here, you would want to actually freeze it, because you don't have Flurry, and these things are freezable, and you're hitting 2 of them with your Glacial Spike, so great Ice Nova moment. Didn't Ice Nova though, that's okay. This is fine. But you can see how long we've just been sitting on Ray of Frost because we just delayed it. Because we had Frozen Orbed. When we had Frozen Orbed, we had Where's Chill, right? So we could have used the Ray of Frost earlier. And again, they're all lined up right here. This would be a great moment to just alter Blink, Comet Storm kind of cold. You get the full AoE combo right here. You also, could have used Comet Storm on that Flurry combo. Would have been good. This is a tricky boss for Glacial Spike because of the knockbacks, but that's alright. Again, could have frozen. That's alright. His priority there, by the way, with Glacial Spike was totally fine. Glacial Spike, if you want to use it naturally in Icy Veins, is only above Frostbolt in the priority, so using your Ice Lances until you get a Flurry proc is totally fine. And here, you really would have wanted to shift in power, but you didn't know about that. It's quite important, though. That was good usage right there. Here, you would have wanted to ignore that Ice Lance, start Glacial Spiking. That's fine. Glacial Spike with a Flurry is higher priority than Ice Lances. This is good. And I think he ends up using, it's kind of cold somewhere around here. Would have been nice to get the Glacial Spike off on those ads, just because you don't have a way to shatter aside from your roots, and again, those were freezable. But this is actually unfortunate. It doesn't matter much, but, not shifting powering until you aren't in freezing winds so that you don't overcap Fierce Frost is better. Also, he did shifting power when Comet Storm was just off CD, and we really want to only shifting power when Array, Comet Storm, and Orb are on CD. This is a fine Comet Storm because he Glacial Spikes right after. Here, he could have Glacial Spiked a bit earlier. So we're looking for an Ice Lance here instead of a Flurry. And then here, after he flurried, he could have Glacial Spiked into Ray of Frost, as you can see. So here, we're going to do he does a Flurry. It could have been a Glacial Spike into Ray of Frost. That would have been perfect. Instead, we end up delaying the Glacial Spike, and now we don't have a Flurry for it, which makes things a bit awkward. And we generally don't want to Cone of Cold right after we use Flurry because it overwrites the Winter's Chill. So if we go back, by the way, we also hold Cone of Cold for Comet Storm in AoE. Yeah, this is a bit trickier because it's on the boss and the ads are coming in and out at random intervals, but ideally you'd be looking for that earlier in the fight to line up well. But you can see there he just used replaced his 2 stacks of Winter's Chill with 1 because he kind of called it, which you would have wanted to avoid. He's just killing ads, which is fine. I respect it. This is a 28 after all. He did freeze there as well. Nice. He has been saying on spoils, because it's macroed into his Icy Veins. Probably wouldn't want to do that, because technically spoils isn't tied to your Icy Veins usage. Given we don't sim with downtime, it generally lines up to be mostly in Icy Veins anyway, so. But that does mean that, here you'd want to use spoils off CD, regardless of the fact that you're not in Icy Veins. The Cone of Cold usage alone would have been massive for that boss damage. And shifting power, because it would have gotten a lot more casts out. Here he's using Ice Lance instead of Glacial Spike. Glacial Spike is higher priority, so we do want to be using that instead. He also ended up moving a lot, so he sat on his Blizzard CD for a while, which is quite impactful. But it always sounds nitpicky when I say it, but it's going to remain true for any version of Frost Mage that exists. Here you definitely want to hold Comet Storm because your Cone of Cold is 9 seconds away. And now you're not going to really shatter it, which isn't great, but you should be able to freeze these guys. We have also just been saying on Glacial Spike for a really long time. Glacial Spike does a lot of damage. Really want to use it. Okay, he flurried. I'm pretty sure you could have played the odds and probably gotten a shatter on everyone, but this Cone of Cold's also been up for a while with Comet Storm. Would have wanted to do this combo here. Even assuming it's been up like 10 seconds, by the time you reach the next pack, it'll either almost be up or it would have, been up already. Because we're already another 10 seconds from what I said. So, yeah. On CD is always best. Yeah, I want to review that. So this is fine. We do want to use our Blizzard here, but he also ended up doing a Comet Storm into an Orb, into an Ice Lance, into a Cone of Cold. So a lot of the reason why we structure our Cone of Cold the way we do is just because in order to shatter, it needs to be right before the Comet Storm or Cone of Cold. But we're having some troubles, so we're just gonna skip that. Okay. You overwrit Winter's Chill right there, by the way. Again, with Cone of Cold so close, we just want to hold our Comet Storm so we can fully shatter it. And yeah, you can see that right there, he essentially double flurried. So now, again, we want to use our Cone of Cold combo. Hopefully he doesn't hold it, because he would just miss usages. Either way, you're not really benefiting from it, because he didn't end up shattering the Comet Storm, so. But again, we're holding the Cone of Cold for quite a while. Normally we don't Brave Frost during Freezing Winds, and you probably could avoid it here, so you see your Freezing Winds is going to run out, and then you just have a lot of time left on this. Since this is also not AoE, we wouldn't have wanted to use that flurry over the Brave Frost. These guys can't be frozen, so this Glacial Spike gets cancelled like 3 times here. It's kind of, and then the target dies anyway. So that was good. Probably would have liked to blink, but here we want a Glacial Spike. We're overcapping some Icicles, but it's alright. That flurry there would have been great if it was paired with a freeze, because he would have been flurrying the unfreezable target to shatter it, and then also, freezing the freezable ones. But here, Glacial Spike, very good. But he is Ice Lancing over Glacial Spike here. Kind of happens a few times. Not ideal Blizzard, because the 2 target just ended. We're kind of looking to Ray Frost here. Well, this is 1 target to just get it on CD. In this case, I probably would have done it even without Where's Chill, but it really depends. Here he ends up Ice Lancing on this. Glacial Spike would have killed it. Also, Cone of Colding and doing the double Comet Storm would have been really good for it. But we're overcapping a lot of Icicles here, and then also just staying on Cone of Cold when there's multiple targets. Yeah, ideally, again, this probably would have been used on the first deck Where's Chill. Didn't really matter, actually, because he was in Frozen Orb, but again, that's kind of the only way he could have used Ray Frost there, to actually use that on cooldown. So we want to hold our Cone of Cold until our Comet Storm is back up. Yeah, they jumped away though, which is a little unfortunate. Also can't Glacial Spike this guy. But here we're just looking to do a Comet Storm into Cone of Cold. Unfortunately, he Cone of Colded early. This is a situation you definitely would have wanted to save it, because now they're grouped up, right? After it was forced to jump. So instead you're going to Cone of Cold with, no pre Comet Storm. We're also massively overcapping on our Icicles from Glacial Spike here. Yeah, that could have been Glacial Spike. That's okay. Also, just overcapping a lot of Icicles here. Again, this is a boss where you can use. We don't want to use Rare Frost during Freezing Winds. Ideally, you just massively overcap on Freeze Frost. This is another boss where you can get use out of Cold Snap on the totems, which he does end up doing. So this is a great situation to do, the Comet Storm, kind of cold. However, you also would have wanted Blizzard to be on CD here, especially against 4 targets. It would be giving you a lot of Frozen Orb CDR. But yeah. Spoils is up, but I don't think he's going to end up pressing it. He did just Ice Lance after a Glacial Spike that was on the second stack of Winter's Chill, I believe. Yeah, so see here, he Glacial Spikes into Ice Lance. The Glacial Spike isn't going to get shattered because the Ice Lance is actually going to land before the Glacial Spike here. So you want to avoid doing that. Also would have been a good shifting power moment, but part of the issue with things like this is, people don't have time to learn from things I said earlier, right? So it's just the same issue, which is fine. You can also abuse abuse Cold Snap in general here if 3 of these land near each other. They didn't this time, but they will next time. So again, you would have wanted to hold Ray Frost till you're not in Frozen Orb. In general, in single turrets, the other way around, actually, you hold Frozen Orb till your Ray Frost is on cooldown. But this is, a little bit multi-target, so can't blame him. Would have wanted to Frostbolt there. It's okay. And then here, unfortunately, use kind of cold, but only hit 2 of them. Would have wanted to save the Comet Storm for it anyway as well that happened here, if you were looking further ahead. This is also a good Blizzard moment. We do Blizzard on 3 targets always, and if you have the talents that he has, you would only do it with Freezing Rain up on 2 targets. Good shifting power moment. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been paying attention. I don't know if we've been staying on spoils since the last Icy Veins, but that'd be bad, of course. Here we're using a lot of Ice Lances when we have Glacial Spike up. Glacial Spike's higher priority when you can shatter it, which you can. And again, would have been good to Blizzard earlier. This is going to be a situation where the Totem he's saying is actually not one of these 3, but he could still use his Comet Storm on this one after flurrying, and then Counter Cold this, and be able to reuse Orb and Comet Storm, which is pretty valuable. Of course, you can do it on the Totems as well, but that spawn during the Moss. But he's got free time right now to just go do it. So he would have wanted to not Glacial Spike here. Even in Icy Veins, when you're just dry Glacial Spiking, it's only a priority above Frostbolt. So here he's going to end up overcapping Fierce Frost, which is not ideal. Nice Ray of Frost angle. That was good. He used his Ice Lances before dry Glacial Spiking. Actually, he blinked and canceled it, but that's okay. Here he replaces his Winter's Chill, the 2 stacks with 1 again. But it's a good AoE stuff, so that's alright. Holding Glacial Spike for a little bit, but this is a good shifting power moment now. This is probably good to wait though, since it's 2 target cleave. There, if you're frostbolting and you have flurry, even if Glacial Spike is ready, you should still use the flurry just to prevent overcapping CDR on it. You're more likely to run out of flurries than you are to, not have Glacial Spike up with a flurry. I guess if that makes sense. This is again great moment for Coldest Snap. This is obviously really good single target damage, but yeah, no blizzard and stuff. Not great for the AoE. And would have been great to use Cold Snap here. Because now we're just gonna sit on Cone of Cold for a while. Also, we have spoils up, but we're not using it. We want to use it. Yeah, I only hit 2 targets here with this Cone of Cold. Bit unfortunate. Need to be standing. I don't even know if you could hit 3 here, honestly. How finicky its thing is. This was good. The Frostbolt after the Glacial Spike was amazing to stop what I mentioned earlier with the Ice Lance consuming the Shatter. This could have been done a little bit better. Yeah. Would have been good not to overcap on Mage Frost here and sit on Blizzard CD for a while, but instead, when you're running here, this could have been like an orb into an Ice Lance, re-Blizzard, and then the kind of cold Comet Storm, orb Comet Storm. But instead, we sit on Blizzard CD for about 4 GCDs, and then we overcap, several Rings of Frost as well. Here we do want a Glacial Spike. That's good. Ended up doing it. We did overcap on Icicle, but and in AoE it's a bigger deal kind of because we have so many more ways to ensure Glacial Spike can be frozen. Here he would have wanted to hold Shifting Power. Fortunately, Twitch makes you go back super far, but you only want Shifting Power if your Comet Storm has recently been used, really, or just has greater than 10 seconds of its CD on, because right now he's Shifting Powering and his Comet Storm and his Orb and his Blizzard are all off cooldown, right? So they all were about to be used, so it would be better just delay Shifting Power until after you use them. And now at this point, since your Comet Storm is up and your Cone of Cold is only about 10 seconds away, you want to hold your Comet Storm for Cone of Cold. That's unlucky. That's also unlucky. Alright, but we're pretty primed here to do another Cone of Cold combo, right? With our whole Blizzard Orb, Comet Storm, Cone of Cold. He ended up doing another GCD between Comet Storm and Cone of Cold, but again, we really want to do Comet Storm into Cone of Cold so we can shatter our Comet Storm. He also flurried right here. At this point, he hadn't consumed Winter's Chill yet, so he overcapped Winter's Chill from his Cone of Cold. Good shatter here. He used the freeze. We want to be. This is unfortunate. It's kind of annoying, but if you delay your Shifting Power, you end up not really being able to press it because now his Comet Storm is 7 seconds away, so he can't channel it. But by the time this comes up, he doesn't even want to use Comet Storm because Cone of Cold's going to be almost up then. So if you're not using all this stuff on CD, it ends up misaligning and you'll lose uses of Comet Storm. So yeah, now we really don't want to use Comet Storm because Kind of Cold is 4 seconds away, but we ended up doing it. So now we're also sitting on Kind of Cold, which is pretty bad. Kind of Cold's probably the thing that you're basing a lot of your AoE rotation off of, like your highs and lows. That's what you want to be looking out for. Would have been good to shatter that with Flurry, or if I don't know if he had a Flurry actually, but he was hitting a freezable target. So this is a great shifting power moment because everything's on CD for longer. Would have been good to shifting power even a little bit earlier to get your Comet Storm off, so that you were Comet Storming right now. But so we're not going to, and we just kind of sit on it. Now we're going to overcap CDR, and we don't end up using Comet Storm until 17 seconds on Kind of Cold, when we could have used it when it was instead at 24 seconds, and that would have been a lot smoother for not delaying the Kind of Cold. You really gotta watch out for that. That's kind of the most annoying thing that I've experienced with Frost and AoE, is how tight your Comet Storm and shifting power is usage is, just because you want to align it with Cone of Cold without really delaying it. But yeah. I think you Frost Nova. Yeah, this guy's immune to freezes, so that would have been a good flurry moment. And now we're just sitting on Kind of Cold. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if it actually came up when there's 3 targets, but it's gonna have no usage on the boss, so using it on cooldown here would have been great. And you also, yep, that's good. Ice Lance, and when you got Glacial Spike though, no reason to hold a Glacial Spike. You'll get 5 bajillion of them in 5 seconds. So I believe this run actually ends on the worm, but we covered a lot, so we'll see. Yet crit again on spoils, right? Because it's macro. Don't want it macro. So he ended up using Glacial Spike before anyway. So. That probably would have been a good scenario to actually hold Glacial Spike, since your Flurry was coming off cooldown in half a second. Bit unfortunate that we shifting powered when Rare Frost was almost on off CD, but this is a good combo. If you're wondering, he doesn't actually have instant winner's chill, so this can get a little freaky at times because he's staying so far away. This is also something that's a bit annoying when you stand far away from the boss, is you Frozen Orb, and instinctually you want your next global to be Fingers of Frost, because when Frozen Orb hits a mob, it gives you Fingers of Frost. But since he's staying so far away, he has to start a Frostbolt, and then because he has a Flurry, he has to Flurry, and then he ends up proc munching a lot of Fingers of Frost, which is why it's good to be in melee when you're using Glacial Spike, generally. Or not, sorry, when you're using Frozen Orb. I am missaying a lot of things these days, huh? Fortunate little overcap there, but it's okay. This is a pretty stressful scenario, as you can see. These mobs can be rooted, so when they were right here together, it would have been good to do a little Frost Nova, and then you could have done a Glacial Spike as well, which would have been nice. And keeping them, rooted together would have made them a lot easier to kill as well. But now he eats this guy, and that might actually be why they wipe. So. There you would have wanted to Ray Frost and then delay your orb till after you raid, and overcapping some icicles here. That was a good Frostbolt into Flurry, because otherwise he would have stopped his Glacial Spike from shattering. We got crit again on spoils, a little bit unlucky. He's I don't know if you noticed that he just got 1 Winter's Chill right here. So he Frostbolt flurries, and here he only has one Winter's Chill, even though he hasn't hit it with anything yet, right? He's Frostbolt Flurry, and now he's casting Glacier Spike. This is actually because he's too far away from the boss, so his Frostbolt traveled too slow and hit the boss after all of his flurries hit. It's kind of an issue once you reach, large ranges when you have high haste, right? Right now he has really high haste. So it happened again there as well. So gotta be a little bit careful of that. This boss probably also has a large hitbox, which makes it more pronounced too. I don't know where his cold snap is tracked or ice. I don't know where his ice block is either. Here's his ice block. I don't know where cold snap is. So anyway, they end up dying here. So, but yeah, 28 Tyrannical, pretty hard. We can keep watching though. Using Ray Frost in the second stack. Don't really blame you. This is kind of falling apart there. So that's where we're going to end. Hopefully that helped you realize a lot of the common mistakes that people are going to make in Tempo 1.5. This is a great thing that you can do for yourself as well, just tracking or recording a VOD and then going back over it, kind of like what I've done. You should be able to recognize a lot of the common mistakes, especially one, because I just illustrated them, and two, if you have like a priority sheet with you on your other monitor or the same monitor in your hand, I don't know, somewhere. But yeah, this is a great way to improve just reviewing your VOD. So, yep. Leave me comments, questions down below. Thanks to Hopeful for providing this.